Alright, so this is Willow's going home video. So what I'm going to do today is just catch her, get her out, groom her, do some of the things she's doing in her rehab routine, and show you guys kind of where she's at. Willow is a 3.5-year-old Rocky Mountain horse. She severed her tendon, it's a long story, in July. So the wound there is still healing because she had a degloved portion of her leg, then the tendon. So that's what the bandage is for. You're also going to see some swelling on her leg, which is going to be there because one, the bandage is on, so it's somewhat constricting, but also two, because she hasn't had turnout yet. Today we're going to go do our rehab and then she'll have turnout. And when she moves, that swelling goes down. So yeah, she was on stall rest for quite a few months, and so her body is still adjusting to getting to have movement again. It's building some muscle. It's building its proprioception and ability to understand where the feet are in relation to the rest of the body, and she is slowly just getting reacquainted to real horse life. Now she is still on trazodone, which is a daily mild sedative, and the reason for that is because that's what keeps her calm from tearing around too much as the tendon is healing. Alright, coming close, Melinda. So when I go to catch her, I always have my equipment already ready to go. I'm going to use a rope halter with my rope attached directly to the halter with no snaps. And the reason for that is because it has a better communication than a halter that has a snap on it. And so when I come in to catch her, she's pretty mouthy, so I'm just always going to keep things away from her mouth. My right arm is going to go over her head and neck. I'll bring the equipment kind of behind her jaw here, then I'll slip it over her nose, and none of that ever gives her the chance to basically be taking it into her mouth and messing with it and stuff like that. I expect her to halter with her head relatively level, slightly bent towards me, and soft. She should be still. She should not be like bring her head up, down, left, right, trying to bite me, trying to bite the halter or the rope, whatever it may be. So I just have to have a steady feeling with her so that way she knows to stay. Then I'm going to take her to the grooming spot. Hello? I open the door, I come in here, and what I want to do is catch her right eye with my hand here, so that way I can block her to stay over there. She shouldn't be coming behind me or reaching for the food or anything like that. So once I get in there, I might make her wait a second, touch her or something like that, and then I can take it away and I can get it all out of there. I've been feeding her in the manger, but you could feed her in like a hangover feeder or something like that would be fine too. And sometimes the minerals stick to the edge here, so I'm just getting those minerals off of here. That way then I can give it like a rinse like that. Again, hand towards the eye. And then of course if she were to when I put my hand towards her eye like that, if she would have tried to dip behind me and turn around, I would have continued pressure, one, keeping myself safe with my back to the door, but also pressure until she would rearrange to where she'd be in that safe position there parallel to the other wall. And he's wanting some food too, so they're beefing for a second. So yeah, that's the safe way to feed her, and don't be afraid ever to take a whip or a flag or something to kind of block her as you're getting in there and dumping your food. Tying Willow, I tie her with a bank robber's knot. There's more videos of that on my YouTube channel. And so the reason why I do the bank robber's knot is because it comes off of the ring really quickly and easily, and the whole thing comes off instead of still having my tail through like what would happen with a regular quick release knot. So she is hard tied, and I do hard tie her to this post, to the stall or inside of the stall, but I have not hard tied her in areas where she would be really spooky. Whenever we were in training before the injury, I would have tied her in areas that she would be more spooky, but I haven't done that lately because she's still working through turning back into a horse that has to handle scary things in life, and she hasn't pulled back since this since the injury incidents, but I'm still concerned that she might. She did pull back one time when she got her halter caught on a low piece that was just like a little piece hanging from her hay feeder. So that was kind of a unique instance where it actually grabbed the halter itself. but she did set back a couple times in her training early on. So I'm just cautious of like, I only want her to be tied in scenarios and in locations where I know she has the best chance at doing the best for now, until she displays more calm behavior, like in turnout and just overall calmness. So, okay. All right, so I'm going to groom her. Usually I will start with the curry comb and then the brush. So I have a rubber curry. Rubber curry is going to be really, really good for her as we are bringing her circulation back after being on stall rest for so long and just not moving her body. And so while she's tied, if I can have her standing more square like that and comfortable, that would be better for everybody. I'm always looking for places that she wants to be groomed, and honestly, compared to where we started, she does better being groomed now than she did even when she first came to training, and I assume a big piece of that is because she actually likes being groomed now. Now this is the time of year where you get a little bit of static, so I'm going to use, this is just like some hair moisturizer and water, and I'm going to give her a spritz. So this is kind of where she's at with being sprayed. This is tremendous progress from where we were in the spring. And like I said, granted she is on trazodone, but like don't let that fool you, because I've still seen her do plenty of things while on the trazodone. So anyway, so now she's been sprayed. Come here. I like to work on her kind of keeping her head down and towards me, because she's kind of figured out how to have like an evasive high head due to us holding her here so many times for different procedures and stuff like that. So circles back and forth, go across the spine there. She can be kind of touchy about that. The loin here, she could be afraid of. When I come towards the hindquarters, maybe I should position myself a little bit away from her in case she were to kick. Just naturally, not like in this robotic, scared way. And, you know, go all the way under. Watch her expression as you go under her ventral line. Kind of make sure that she's not getting mad and coming at you. This is a very opinionated horse, a horse that really has no fear in trying to get you to quit doing things, and we'll go to other measures that other horses won't. Grossness in your ears. Girl. Okay, you can bend, yeah. Then I'll take my bristle brush. It's pretty self-explanatory. Buckskin is a great color because it hides a lot of mud and dust and stuff, and she definitely rolled yesterday in the arena. She likes to roll in the arena, and I think part of that is because it's kind of good and scratchy. I don't really see her rolling that much when she gets turn out. But of course, cover her all over with this. You can see that she got a little bit unsquare. I might ask her to kind of just reshape that up. You don't have to touch your face to me. Half a step back. Half a step back. Good girl. Oh. I'm not worried about that leg. Okay. Then we'll do mane and tail. Yeah, she does that little head pop thing. So I want to be sure that if I have my hands on her halter here, that she doesn't get released or get out of me holding her head there, because then she just kind of learns how to rip her head out of your hold and, you know, go wherever she's wanting to go after that. Hi. Keep going for 1 second. Her tail was just braided, so it's not that angled. Okay. Picking up her feet and dealing with her feet from the very beginning was always like a thing. She wanted to rip front feet away. She'd try to kick you with a hind foot when you go to pick up a front foot. And now with this injury, you know, the right leg is compensatory, so she wants to kick with the right leg. She wants to refuse the front leg. She wants to bite. She wants to do all these things. So we've worked on that, and we've had some moments where I've had a big correction. The kind of correction that's like, I got one chance, I'm gonna make this count. So when I pick her feet today, I'm expecting her to probably look at me and be a little bit wary, but I'm not looking, I don't think she's going to do some of the more bad things that she's done before, but I'll show you kind of how I handle it. So especially with the front feet, I'm going to pick up her foot, and I'm still like, see my position here, and I'm just kind of touching on the chestnut, and there I use the hoof pick behind me to block her, and I just basically get her to give it to me, and then I'll face here, which is kind of an interesting position, but I'm doing it so I can watch what her face is doing, so that way then I can tell her to leave me alone, basically. And then that was good, and then of course if she wants to pull away, I can always touch the other leg to be like, hey, pay attention to standing on that one, or I can do little circles here to kind of release her shoulder. But no matter what, I want her to set it down nicely. So I'm going to circle it until she comes to the ground. And I can do little distracting things like that to keep her from like snapping it away. Stay focused. Stay focused. Stay focused. That's not the best that I've had with horses, but that's really good for her. Okay, so now for the hind foot, I want the one that I want to be a little bit further back. Now this is her tendon healing leg, so the range of motion is quite small. So I'm not going to try to bend it back any further. If she wants to bring it further forward or back or whatever, it doesn't really matter. She's having obviously a hard time balancing. Hey, touching that foot. There you go. See, I touched the other leg, and then she stabilized there. If you want to put it lower, that's fine. You can touch it on the ground, that's fine too. Good girl, whatever helps you feel stable. That was good. Good girl. Okay. Compensatory leg, so this one, she does want to kick sometimes, but what I need to do is like once you get it up, get your hand off of the tendons here. And the reason for that is because, don't do that, tap, tap, tap. The reason for that is because when you're on the tendons there, it's going to, she's going to have different feelings in like her hock, and it's going to just be annoying for her. So I want to give her the least amount of reasons to be annoyed. Also, you can see here, she's like relaxing it down, and the more I hold it down like this, the better she feels. Oh, girl, let it touch. You can rub down the tendons down the back. But you need to get in and get out. You need to say, here, I'm stabilizing this for you, don't kick me, get in, get out. That's it. Are you going to put your weight on that one? There's for slightly, little, big old, angry donkey ears. Good girl. Stay away. No. You think part of the reasons why they want to pull a foot away has nothing to do with just like, I just don't want you to do this. It's because they have to balance on the other 3 feet. Stop, Willow. And that's where I'll give her a firm tap tap. Maybe she needs some more support there. So there I put my knee in front of her her knee. So that way I can stabilize. That's where you don't touch me. So whenever a horse starts to go pulling their feet away, the worst thing you can do is clamp on it. You saw a couple times I like kind of grabbed it, but there was always this little bit of this feeling in it because the more like sharp, intense she can get with her foot, the quicker she can snap it away from you. So if you kind of keep that brace broken, then they're less likely to snap it away. So that was a pretty good feet picking session. I'm pretty happy with that for her because they have been worse. Alright, so once I'm done with her basic grooming, then I'm going to come out into the arena here. I'm always trying to kind of like lead her at a distance. So I like to hold my tail with my flag here, and then I can use my, like there I can use my flag to push her that way a little bit, and then if she were to run in front of me, I would just take the flag in front of her kind of up near the eye. And so that's kind of just my basic rules around leading. Don't hang on under the chin or pull her like this to see how she immediately slows down. Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit closer though, and I'm going to weave these poles. And what this is doing is asking her to cross these diagonally, and when she crosses them diagonally, she's reaching the respective hind leg more towards the middle. And then I'm going to do kind of like a little turn on the haunch. And I don't want her to be doing the ropes right now. She's allowed to do the ropes during like body work or barrier work or something like that that's like a little bit stressful or more difficult for her to focus. But like right now, she has gone far enough in her training. She doesn't need the pacifier anymore. She shouldn't need the pacifier anymore. Linda, you can stay right there for this time. She shouldn't need the pacifier anymore for this basic work. Yeah, so I'll go this way a couple of times. Oops, that's my fault. And then like here I'm prepared for a turn to the left here. So I'm going to get on the other side. So I can actually do a turn away this direction. So a huge piece of her not chewing ropes is just don't give her the option. If she has the option, she probably will. And then always adding in, adding a couple stops. There, she took a deep breath. To let her think about what we're doing and let her process and soak on what's happening. It was actually a really nice square stop, so I'm gonna let her like feel that for a little while. So yeah, turns on the haunch, snaking through poles, not a lot of circles. You can do some circles, but right now with the tendon healing, you don't want to do too much. You can gait her in a straight line, stuff like that, but it's hard because oftentimes she'll just want to speed up and kind of take off around you and stuff like that, but sometimes she doesn't. That's pretty settled for her. Usually she's a lot more busy than that, so that's fine, that's good. Like this, I definitely would encourage the owners to like just do like normal day things with the horse. So like open your gates, like take them with you when you're pushing a wheelbarrow, or like whatever it may be. And the reason for that is because it kind of takes your focus off of them a little bit, but allows you guys to just kind of like go through life together. And that's what you want to do when you're wanting to trail ride your horse, is kind of go through anything and everything. So if you can even just like go through a gate and have like a little hind quarter yield there, and then bring her front end through, that's pretty cool. And also she did it quietly, and you know how many horses want to run through gates when you're riding. So there's nothing wrong with just practicing these things on the ground, but making them intentional and not just making them like routine. So there's some more of that hind quarter yielding. Just a little bit of that is fine. It's practical. but that's not like a huge exercise I'm gonna do right now, especially with the tendon healing and having the issues that are going on with that. Straight and then like stuff on her haunches nice and balanced is better than anything else. So okay, so now we're gonna go to the trailer, and I have been loading her with both doors open, but yesterday I loaded her with just one door. So I am gonna do that again, where I'm just gonna open the one door. And then I always send at this stage of the game, so that way I can support the horse from behind on forward movement. Look, girl, that was a good try with that hind foot. It's okay, and she might get off and on a couple times. Not too worried about that. She needs to know that she is going to get off, and she's not going to be on it forever. Good girl. See how she found that? Now when she's in here, I don't want her to turn around. So the flag is critical there because I just blocked it in her eye to prevent her from turning around. It's now she's chewing on that. As time goes on, you know, sometimes, not as time goes on. I do in the beginning sometimes turn them around and take them off. But if they're like really critically wanting to do that, I don't always do that, because then they learn that they can turn around on the trailer, and there's a lot of trailers that they can't turn around. So you just have to decide, what is it that I really want them to learn? So there she's eating some hay there. So I'm going to use this opportunity to take her off of here. And if I needed to open the other door, if I felt like I was going to get squashed, I would open the other door. Step, step. I try to add the verbal step on there. And then always, once they come off, I back them up. Try to back them up a horse length before you would turn. And what that does is it helps the horses from like getting off the trailer and immediately turning, or getting off the trailer sideways, or whatever it may be. But that was like a pretty decent session there. What makes it decent to me is, one, she organized her feet on the way up. Two, she started eating. If she's really nervous, or any horse is really nervous, they're not going to eat, and that's not a good time to tie them and leave them on the trailer. And then three, once she got off of the trailer here, she took a deep breath. She's continuing some eating, you know, moving her jaw and stuff like that. She's not getting frozen. So let's do this again, but let's see if she would just follow me on if I just let her on. She sure did. So that's the very first time she did that. And since we've been practicing trailer loading since we're preparing for her to go home. And so she's eating now. So I'm going to back her off, and then I'm going to tie her, and she'll have a little bit of time. Step. Oh, sorry, honey. A little bit late. Back up. And like you can use your rope, or if you got kind of some body language here, that's fine too. Okay, so I'll give her a second to kind of process and think about what just happened. This is the hard part, because I always just want to go back on. You don't have to eat things. Is your mind back? Okay, let's go. Okay, so you can come up close, Melinda. So I'm going to use the blocker tie ring. I'm going to tie her relatively short because I don't want her to think she can turn around. And I'm going to go through twice, so she has a lot less ability to actually just pull it free. I'll scratch her a little bit so she doesn't think that just like, oh, suddenly I'm gone. She has just backed her own self right off the trailer. So that's why I still have the flag here. So if she does start to back up, I'll flag her forward. Because if she backs up now, she's tied. That's not going to be great. Now she is on the blocker ring, so if she really pulls, she should get some length. But I don't really want her to do that at all. But you need to tie that short enough that they can't like start turning and then end up like in a pretzel in this space here. So she's kind of feeling things out, and that's great, and that's fine. Now I'm going to get off, and I'm going to close the door just for a little while, still watching and being sure that she doesn't decide to just come off there like how she kind of backed up, kind of see where things are. Now we've taken her on other trailer rides, but mainly just to go to the equine hospital because of what was going on with her foot. She hasn't had just like a leisurely trailer ride because we weren't there yet in the training before everything happened. But I'm really happy with how she's doing. So I hear her moving, but I don't hear her like losing her absolute crap. So that's progress. Okay, so I heard her get still in here. So when she's getting still, then I'm gonna reward her basically for that by like reappearing and taking her off of here. So, you know, she did poop twice because she's nervous, but it's okay. Here's the flag asking her to step over. Good girl, release. And all of our other groundwork, you know, prepares for this stuff. This isn't just like she's never seen the flag and doesn't know what it means or how it works or anything like that. So I'll pull her off of the blocker ring. I want her to stand here for a second. I would love it if she would eat because she's anticipating the get off. Right here she wants to put her shoulder into me, so I'm using my finger like this to really kind of poke and make sure that she doesn't push me into this wall. Because she wants to turn to the outside there. And if she turns to the outside, then I'm really a pancake. You can't turn to the outside. Put that down. Willow. She ate it once I showed her that it was there, and that's fine. Now you can get off. Get back in. It was scary that I closed you in there, so then you just wanted to get off. There's an exhale. Okay, so that was pretty decent. She could have made it home in that mental frame, and that would have been fine. So, all right. Let's go to the obstacle course. So now that she had something like kind of tense happen, she wants to like lead in front of me and do stuff like that. So there's a couple things that I can do. One is I'm always going to check in with the rope and see if she'd slow down off of the rope there, and she was kind of delayed. So I'll do a slight bump with it, and then I'll also use the flag in front to support. Then like here, I'm talking to you, so I'm late. I could always just turn, and when I come around, then like I'm kind of reset with her behind me. Notice I have my rope in this hand, so a lot of times if I'm using this hand I will, but other times I just let it go like this. So like here she's getting ahead of me again, so I could always like turn her this direction as well. The last thing you want to do is just like fight them in a straight line. Don't fight them in a straight line too much, try to do some other things. So when I go over to the obstacles, we just kind of show where things are at with her in the obstacles. One of the rehab things that we're doing is the step-ups and downs, and so the trailer was definitely like half of that for the day. So then I can use my other obstacles here, like this little bridge, to do the rest of those. So we have a step up. You're gonna go, oh, you don't want to go in that mud. I don't care if she has to sidestep back onto the bridge. She can't just throw her body into me like she did there. So, can you go over here? Yeah. So I might need to change my position. She's just going to have to navigate that one. That's good for her. But the answer is never just, you know, on top of me. Let's do that again. Now I'm prepared for it, so I can switch my hands here. Whoa! Tire. I almost broke my back. Whoops. Alright. Came back. That's okay. That's an example of kind of how we're handling this exact thing. So she wants to just decide to just stop. This is what she does. She has a really strong no. So I'm going to change kind of what I'm doing. And it stresses her out that I'm telling her that she can't. So even though we came over here for the bridge, I guess now we're working on the wall. give her a rest on that note to let her think about that. Let's revisit where we're at with the bridge, and then we'll move on to something else, because again, we're not doing too much of this. It is considered a part of her strength rebuilding, but we don't want to just keep going and going and going and going. So cut that one. Her go off that side than on top of me, so that's fine. That's fine. That is fine. Okay. All right. We did the noodles a little bit. I haven't done the teeter bridge. It's kind of a big step. As time goes on, we can do the teeter bridge, but it's just a large step. I forgot to mention, you'll notice for the trailer, its part has the little hill, so it makes it easier for her to get on, because just walking onto the trailer like normal is not easy. That was great progress from where we left off. It didn't touch her anywhere, but that's okay. Everything is a start. Okay, what's going on with my noodles here? I think I need to make them a little bit more. Scary, but you know what? 'Tis life. This one's really broken. Nope. Hang on, we'll get her. You alright? She stayed on the end of my line, so I don't really care. I know it's scary, but it's okay. There, figure it out. Good girl. Shall we go the other way? Other way. When you do an obstacle like this, you should, oh, it's scary, put your hand, your rope through, like the post, basically going here. Easy. Good. But this is just a standing obstacle, so you wouldn't want to like use that pole as like leverage or anything, because you'll pull the whole thing down. So, okay, so that is pretty much all the things relatively that we're at. I do walk her sometimes around the edge of the woods so she can kind of see that and build her confidence there. As time goes on, I would start crossing bigger logs. I would start asking for more of her, maybe in the round pen or on the lunge circle. I would start doing the teeter bridge again. I would start taking her further away from the barn and just slowly doing more and more and more and more. But like right now, this is kind of where we're at, and I like where her mind is at compared to where it's been before. I'd like it to get better and better, and it will with some time. But I think basically if you guys continue very similar things where like you're just doing engaging things, like playing around with anything that is engaging for her and moving out with her and taking walks with her and doing stuff like that, she'll stay pretty good, and she'll stay entertained basically, because she's kind of like a little healer that like needs a lot of stuff to do, but she can't do too much right now as she's progressing in that tendon healing. And so the future of that, I'm not sure exactly what it looks like, but this was a gentle enough beginning. And granted, you know, we've been working at this part for like probably around a month, so this isn't what we did as soon as she was immediately off of stall rest. So we've been progressively working up a little bit at a time. So lots of different ground pulls and stuff like that will be really helpful for her. But anyway, so yeah, that is Willow. And Willow now goes home for the winter and hopefully stays healthy and sound.